After solving your centers, it's time to move on to pairing up the edges, which is the second step in our reduction method. So once you've solved your centers, ensuring that they're all in the correct positions relative to one another, it's time to pair our edge pieces up together. So this is what your cube will look like once you've paired up all of the individual edge pieces with their corresponding partner. However, after you solve the centers, your edges won't actually be paired up, and so here's how we're going to do that. And note that we're only going to solve one edge pair at a time. So the first step in pairing up edges is to actually identify two edges that need to be paired up together. So these can be any two matching edges on the entire cube. It really doesn't matter which ones you do. For the sake of this tutorial, we're going to solve the white edge pieces first. So just scanning the cube initially, I see that I have this blue and white edge here, and its corresponding blue and white edge partner is over here. So once we've located two edge pieces, we need to place them on the same face, but on opposite sides from one another. And they also need to be diagonally offset from one another. You'll see what that means shortly, but essentially it means that if we're holding them at the front, then they won't be in the same layer, like the same vertical layer. So for these two edges, we can do this by using the outer layers only and put them into the front left and front right positions like so. So if we have this one in the front left, and if we put this blue and white one up here, then they're in the same face, they're opposite one another, and they're in the front left and the front right positions here. Another way to think about positioning these two edges, so the blue and white one here and the blue and white one here, is that the two different colors of the edge need to be on the same face. So for this little edge piece, the white sticker is facing towards us, and for this edge piece down here, the blue and white one, the blue sticker is facing towards us on the front face. Once we've positioned these two edge pieces, we can't use the outer layers to actually pair this one up with this one. So we need to use a wide turn and actually mess up our centers temporarily. So to pair this edge up with its corresponding partner over here, we can do a wide U-turn like that. So turn the top two layers, which pairs up these two edges. However, notice that when we do that, we've messed up our centers along this slice. So we need to do something to fix that afterwards. So after we've done that U-turn, we have this edge pair together here. And what we can do is place it into the top layer and put another scrambled edge pair into this position. So replace this solved pair with an unsolved pair. So we can do something like this. So if we've got these two here, we can put these two edges in this place and move these two, which are solved, up into the top layer by doing L prime U L like that, which brings those two, sort of garbage junk edges into this middle layer, and we've got these two solved here in the back. And then once we've got these two here, we can unslice our centers and solve them again, so that now we have these two edges paired up in the top layer, and we've solved an entire edge and we haven't messed up our centers. So on the entire cube, there are 12 of these edge pairs that we need to pair up. So we do the same sort of thing. So we'll have a look around the cube and we'll go for another white edge pair. So if we've spotted this white and orange one here, and its corresponding white and orange piece is over here, what we can do to bring this one down into this position, noticing that this orange and white one has the orange sticker facing towards us and it's in the top position in this front left slot. If we do an R prime, that moves this orange and white edge piece down to here into the bottom slot of this front right position with the white sticker facing towards us. So this is exactly like we want it. We want them opposite from one another with different stickers showing, and they're slightly diagonally offset. So they're not in the same layer like that. So from here, we need to do a wide U-turn to actually match these two up. In this case, we're doing a U prime like that. We're bringing this top edge over here to match it up with its partner here, like so. And then what we can do, we can put this into the top layer by replacing it with one of these unsolved edges. So we can do something like R, U prime, R prime. And notice that we don't just do an R like that to put it into the top layer and replace it with something from down the bottom, because if we just did an R, then we rotate this center, and if we do a U, then these centers aren't solved anymore. So that's why we need to do an R, U prime, R prime, or RU, R prime, just something to insert an edge from the top layer that's not solved into this position, so that when we slice back, these two become solved, or the edge becomes solved, and we go on to our next edge. So next up, let's choose another white edge. So for example, here we have this white and red one, and its corresponding white and edge partner is over here. So we can do this, we can put these into the front left and front right positions by doing an R. Then when we do a U, to match these two up like that, we can replace them with, for example, this edge by doing L prime U L, and then do a U prime like that. So that solved these two edges. And we noticed that we were quite lucky in that case, as when we solved this one, we actually replaced it with this white and green edge, which when we unsliced it, paired up with its corresponding white and green partner. So this one wasn't actually solved before, but in the process of solving this edge, we luckily solved it. So we've solved the 4 white edge pieces. For the sake of simplicity and for this tutorial again, we're going to do the 4 yellow edge pieces. So we're going to solve the 4 yellow edge pairs. So the first one that we spot are these orange and yellow edge pairs. So we've got this one here with the orange sticker facing towards us and its partner is over here. So we can do something like U prime, R prime to move this yellow sticker from here to the front here. And that now we have them opposite one another with different stickers facing towards us. This one's in the second layer from the top. This one's in the third layer from the top. So that when we do a U prime like that, it pairs them up. So when we slice to bring this edge over here, it pairs them up. Now we need to replace this with one of the unsolved edges from the top. So for example here, we've got this solved edge. So if we were to replace this one with this edge that we've already solved and then slice back, well that unsolves this blue and white edge. So we can't do that. So we need to replace it with one of these 2 unsolved edges. So for example here, we can just put in this edge pair by doing R U prime R prime, and then remember to slice back to keep our centers solved. So that was solving these 2 edges. Now the next one we see around the cube are the yellow and blue edges. So the yellow and blue is here and the yellow and blue is here. So we've got the yellow sticker of this one facing towards us. So we need to bring this blue sticker down to the middle. We can do that by doing U prime R prime again. And notice that we need to do a U prime, a wide U prime, to actually pair up this blue and yellow edge with its blue and yellow partner here. So we can do wide U prime like that. Now they're connected. Now we have 3 solved edge pairs in our top layer. So the only one that we can actually insert without messing anything up is this unsolved edge. So bring it to the front and do an R U prime R prime and then slice back. So let's keep going. We're now halfway there. So let's choose another yellow edge pair. So we've got this yellow and green one here and its corresponding yellow and green one partner is down here. So we can move this one from the bottom layer into the middle layer. So we've got this one here, which is in the front left slot up the top. And we can move this one into the front right slot by doing an R like that. And notice that whilst we're solving these edges, it doesn't really matter in what orientation or rotation around the entire cube that we actually hold the cube. It just matters that the 2 edges that we're solving are in the front positions to make it a little bit easier for us. So that is to say, it doesn't really matter what center color is on the top or on the side because we're only focusing on the edges and we're only temporarily unsolving the centers. So to solve these 2, we can do a wide U prime and then we'll need to insert this edge pair because it's not solved yet by doing an U prime R prime and then slice back. Now there's one more yellow edge to solve. So there's this one here, the yellow and red one, and its partner is over here. Now what we can do to actually flip this in its place, because we see that here we have a case where these 2 edges are in the front face, they're in the same face, they're in the front left and the front right slots, but they're both in the same layer, they're both in the 3rd layer from the top. So when we, for example, do a slice, they don't get paired up together, so they both move across from here and here over to the right, here and here. So these are the 2 that we're trying to solve. Now a simple algorithm to actually flip an edge in its place goes something like this. So if we want to move this edge piece up to here and vice versa, moving this one down to here, a simple algorithm to flip an edge in its place, if it's in the front right position, is like this. So R, U, R prime, F, R prime, F prime, R, like that. So after that, we've flipped this edge and we've got this yellow and red one in the front right position up the top and its partner is over here. So we can do a slice to match it up, and then we can insert an edge that isn't solved yet, so for example these 2, and then unslice to solve our centers. So now we've solved all 4 of the yellow edges around the cube, so there's only 4 more edge pairs to solve. So as we solve more and more edge pairs, we get a little bit more restricted in terms of the moves that we can do. So let's look for another 2 edges that we need to solve. Here we're set up pretty nicely. We've got this blue and red one in the front right and the blue and red one over here. So they're opposite one another, like so. So to pair them up, we can do a U, a wide U, like that. And then we can replace this unsolved edge from the top layer into the middle layer, like that, and then slice back. Again, we got a little bit lucky in that when we did that, we actually solved this red and green pair as well. As you're solving more and more edges, there's a chance that you might run into a case like this. So we've got this green and orange edge, and its green and orange partner over here. And when we do a U prime to pair them up, we've actually got no unsolved edges in our top layer or our bottom layer either. So we've got all solved edges here. So we can't actually replace this with any of these edges here or any of these edges here because we'll just mess them up. So to fix this, resolve your centers and look for where there are any edges over here in the back slots, which you could potentially move to the top layer and use as insertion edges. So for example, here we've got this edge which isn't solved, which isn't being used in these two to solve these 2 edges. So we can move it into the top layer by doing an R, so that when we do a U prime, a wide U prime to pair these 2 up, we can just insert these 2 edges, this edge pair into this position, like so. So that we can solve this one without messing up any other edges. So another tricky case that you'll run into is when there's only 2 edge pairs left that need to be solved. Essentially, we need to swap 2 edges with one another, like this. So here we've got the orange and blue and the green and red and orange and blue partners are over here. So because all of the other edges are solved, we can't just slice, pair it up and insert another edge and slice back because that would just break up a different edge. So what we can do is actually, this time we're going to hold them so that they're directly opposite one another like this and they're in the same layer. So this orange and blue one is here and its orange and blue partner is here, and similarly with this green and red one here and this green and red one here. To solve these 2 edges, essentially what we need to do is move this edge over to this position. And then what we need to do is flip these 2 in place so that this orange and blue edge will end up down here and this green and red edge will end up in this position. So these 2 will flip with one another so that when we do a U, this blue and orange one will be paired up with its blue and orange piece here, and this blue and this green and red one will end up over here in the front left in the top position. So the full algorithm goes like this. So do a U prime to move this edge across. The flipping algorithm, as I showed before, R, U, R prime, F, R prime, F prime, R. And then we can do a U to slice back because now this green and red one is up here and this orange and blue one is down here. So that when we slice back, we actually create both of these 2 edges at the exact same time. So now that we've reduced this cube to a 3x3 by solving these centers as well as pairing up our edges, we can essentially solve the rest of the cube as if it were a 3x3.